Hello everyone, my name is Arthur, and I am here with the final podcast for my final project for DTC 101. So, I have with me my friend, Zach.
Hello.
Feel free to introduce yourself, say anything you want.
My name's Zach. I'm a longtime friend of Arthur's, and I have no idea what we're doing, but apparently we're doing a podcast on something, so...
Yeah, I didn't tell you what we're going to do it on. I just said, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And you're like, yeah, sure. And now we're here. We got this dual camera set up, courtesy of Zach with his camera, and then courtesy of, me with my camera. And, and I got a little setup going, and we're just going to go for it. I've done a couple podcasts so far during this course, so I feel like, this might be fun to do. I haven't done a visual podcast yet. I've only done audio ones that we put onto SoundCloud, and I've uploaded to those. Uploaded those for the assignments. So this is the first time we're doing a visual format. So I think I will be okay. I think we'll be okay. But you know what? This is all good and fun. And if I never do it once, I'll never be able to do it. Maybe I should have done it not for the final project, but screw it.
I mean, you could have just kind of done it anyways. Like, if this doesn't turn out the way that you want it, then, you'll still have this as kind of like a, hey, this is how not to do a visual podcast. And then, you can always kind of say whatever to the video aspect, and you'll still have, the audio part of the podcast, which probably won't change a whole lot.
That is true. If the visual... Well, you know what? Maybe we stop talking about it because we might jinx it. That might be bad. I don't want to jinx that.
Let's not talk about how bad the podcast is going to be until you're editing it.
Okay, so today I brought you here because I want to talk about a couple things, and I'll get into that more as we go on. We're going to I guess domino effect it. Just kind of talk about things and layer them together and just see where we go from there. I think, in my opinion, I think that's the best way to do podcasts. I mean, obviously you want some sort of notes. I do have some notes on my phone. And
I don't have notes.
That's all good. You don't even know what we're doing. So that's all good.
Okay.
But I think it's more fun that we just kind of go for it. I'm going to just talk and let you know about some things. See, the thing about this, and before we begin, I'm going to kind of introduce what the point of what the whole aspect of this podcast is and why I'm doing this kind of format rather than anything else. I want to get an outside perspective on what we've been learning. I may or may not mention too much about our learning or about the things that we went over in course. Obviously, I will. However, my main focus is to take what I did for my midterm project, which is on things like copyright, fair use, and basically that, and just seeing what someone outside the course would think about that. And that's why I brought you here. That's why I haven't told you anything. I want the rawest, if that is a word, the most raw.
The most raw
you can get. And that's what we're going for.
Okay, I'm going to sip my G Fuel, and we will be ready to go.
Product placement.
Product placement. Not sponsored.
So, first I want to talk about, what do you think about streaming? In my opinion, sorry, not my opinion, but more on the streaming side that if you were to upload, or let's say you were to stream a game, you can get by a lot of things that are copyright based, or that would restrict you copyright wise, than if you were to upload a video on YouTube. That's why a lot of people stream nowadays. Actually, if you were to follow a lot of people that are on YouTube, you'll know that they stream a lot more. At least that's what I noticed. And they can do a lot more things. They can play whatever music they want. They can play whatever games they want.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that a lot of these things, it's like, if you were to play these games and you were to watch these streamers play, would you ever play them yourself?
So it really depends on the game. Honestly, for me personally, if it's like a story based game, I don't know, like the Walking Dead games, or something that's really heavily based on the story itself, then I would say it kind of ruins the experience with those specific types of games. But when you're talking about like multiplayer games, like the Call of Duty franchise, stuff that's very heavily based on, the way that you interact with other people, I feel like it's more of like exposure for the game and the franchise itself. So, if you watch someone playing, I don't know, like freaking Black Ops 4 or something like that. You know, a game that, you know, a lot of people have in the back of their mind, but, you know, they never see any gameplay of it. You know, they might be more inclined to get that game. But also on the other side of the spectrum, when you're talking about like story-based games that, you know, if you watch it all the way through, then there's really no point in you playing the game yourself. But a really good example of how that's not necessarily true with story-based games is Detroit Become Human. Have you seen videos on that game? Yeah. They're it kind of like I don't know if the viewers on the other side of the screen have really heard much about Detroit Become Human, but it's really based on decision making. Yeah. And so you can really change the course of the game by the decisions that you make personally, which is why so many people love that game, is because you can watch a Let's Play of it and then play it yourself and have a completely different outcome in the end.
Yeah, there's just a ton of different outcomes, ton of different events, ton of different ways you could finish the game. You can get bad endings, you can get good endings. Right. You can get endings that you're not satisfied with, endings that you are satisfied with, but you'll never know if you watch someone stream it, if you watch someone play it. And that is true, but I mean, you could say honestly the same thing for even like a one-way story-based game. Yeah. In my opinion, if like you watched someone, I don't know, play like Outlast, I don't know, I guess Outlast, you know, it's just one story and you just play it. And sure, it's a scary game, but that's not the point of that. I mean, you can watch people play it and it's you know, you can see their reactions, see them get scared by the jump scares, see the atmosphere, but it's not the same as if you were to play it yourself.
Right. If you're on the other end of the screen watching someone play it, like a good example is the Slender games. Like when PewDiePie was blowing up on YouTube, he blew up because of scary games like Slender and, you know, that kind of horror atmosphere. And, you know, when he in particular, when he would play those games, he would be alone at night in pure darkness, and you know, you'd be sitting there watching it in the middle of the day and think, oh, that's a scary game. Yeah. And then you would go to play it yourself and it's an entirely different experience. And so I feel like for horror games in particular, you know, you don't really get that disconnect from you watching someone play it and when you play it yourself. And I can personally advocate for that because the Five Nights at Freddy's games. Yeah. I watched Markiplier play the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and I thought, oh, it's not that scary, and so I decided to buy it and download it onto my computer, and then I was like, oh, this is not going to be bad at all, and nearly pooped my pants because, you know, it's like the horror games are so much about immersion and getting you super focused on one thing and then you just getting completely blindsided and jump scared. And I mean, yeah, I guess jump scares are kind of like a novelty at this point, but like cliche. Yeah, cliche, but like especially with the Five Nights at Freddy's games, you know, unless you spend a lot of time playing the games and constantly getting scared, you know, you're not gonna ever lose that that impending doom feeling, you know, like you feel like something bad's gonna happen. This anxiety that
builds up while you just sit there alone. This when you put yourself in an environment that you didn't have yourself in when you're watching someone else play it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like that's the biggest example I could think of. And even if it's not a scary game, even if it's like just some I don't know, like some other just game X or game Y that has just one story, you buy it, you play the story, and you're done. You can't, there's so much to it, even when you think it's just a one-way route. You just, you know, get the game start to finish, and then you're done. You can watch someone play it, but it's just not the same. And in class, we had this reading on a fellow named Benjamin. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I actually don't know. It's written like Benjamin, but it said we say Benjamin or Benjamin in class. I don't know, whatever. I'm calling him Benjamin because I live in America. And he's talking about this idea of aura. And this is basically what you were talking about and what we were talking about, I suppose, but what you got really passionate about. And it's about basically the feeling, the experience that you get while if you were to like watch one thing or play it yourself. If you were to apply yourself into the world or immerse yourself into the world, rather. It's a much different experience than just watching someone else play it. Sure, you can watch someone play it, they get scared or whatever, and then you see the reaction that they do, you see the movements that they do with like their mouths and whatever, like how they play it, and in that sense, they emit their own aura, right? They have their own experience, and then you could, I guess, sympathize, if you will, if that's the best word to use it, with that aura, and then you can have that aura and understand, like, wow, that was a good jump scare or whatever. Going back to the scary game example, but you just won't have that same aura if you were to play it yourself. Right. Even if it's the same exact jump scare, the same exact ambient anxiety, suspense type environment scare, it'll just be so much, the aura that emits from that is so much different just because everyone has different experiences. Every human being is different. They feel differently about different things. And because of that, no same person will have the same exact experience, even if they were to be jump scared by the same jump scare.
Or to play through the exact same storyline the exact same way. Yeah.
I mean, one person can feel like, wow, this was a good story. One person can feel that this was a bad story.
Yeah.
One person can say it was all right, but this should have happened, or I don't like how this happened, or another person can say I loved everything about it. And if someone just hates it, that's not necessarily the game's fault. That's just them not liking the story, and that's fine. That's just what they got from it. That's the aura, if you will, the experience that they got from it. They didn't necessarily enjoy it, but a lot of other people did.
Yeah, and I guess it's a lot about personal preference, and you can watch it. I guess it can kind of tie back to any type of media, like a movie or a YouTube video. You can take away different things from the exact same experience, and I guess it's all about the way that we interpret certain things, and it's really hard to kind of like gauge the way that other people are going to react to something that you create. Like, using the YouTube example, you can make a video with the intention to have a certain outcome and intending for people to feel a certain way about it. But, you can never really 100% predict that every single person that watches it is gonna feel the exact same way about it. Yeah. And, yeah, it's really weird when you think about the whole Let's Play ecosystem, because it has grown so much to the point where, if you want to buy a game and you think that it's really good, then, I guess a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction is to go and watch those Let's Play videos and, just kind of seeing what they're getting themselves into when it comes to certain games. And, yeah, it's just very interesting to kind of see where YouTube has kind of taken the gaming industry, and like, especially with like, you can play a game all the way through and then go through the entire game again and just look for those little things that you missed. Yeah. And I guess that's kind of an appeal to watching someone play it through and then seeing how they found those little Easter eggs, see how they can like develop theories on certain games just solely based on those little things that you can find in a game. And to kind of like tie back to like the Five Nights at Freddy's example, they took the series of games. I think there's like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 games.
I remember like 5, and then I kind of stopped, like, I suppose, getting into it. But yeah, there's definitely so much more now.
Yeah. But you look at the fan theories, and there's literally an entire YouTube channel, The Game Theorist, that literally does nothing but...
It's a theory.
Yeah.
A game theory.
Thanks for watching. But yeah, it's just like you can find so much more to these games by like, getting inspiration from those people. And like The Game Theorist is a really good example of that, because he tried to find theories just based on like the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and then the second one came out and he kind of like tried to tweak it. And there's so many things that are hidden in games that you never really think about when you're initially playing through it. And I feel like that's like a really cool thing that YouTube has done, is just kind of like, make you really want to read in between the lines in certain games.
Mm-hmm. And like, I wanted to bring up, and I think I brought it up in the beginning a little bit about copyright, about fair use, how, people can play these games and then people can watch it for free. And then that also tied back into like, would you even buy the game after doing that? Yeah. And if that's the case, why don't like major companies take down these videos? They still do though, but why don't
Nintendo's a big example.
Oh yeah, they're a big example. But even for companies that do let that fly, that do let people stream it, that do let people make videos on, and for people to watch it for free, and for those people who watch it for free, the people are the person that makes the videos, they're getting paid to do that. So they're, in a sense, they're making profit off a game that was made by someone else who was trying to make profit themselves, which would be the game company. And I think, and we kind of already answered it, to be honest, like why companies would just let that fly, why companies would just would let these creators and these streamers showcase their game for free. And then, you would think that if they do that, people won't buy it, right? People won't want to buy their game anymore, so we should flag their stuff or whatever. But they don't do that. They don't do that because it gets so much publicity into it, or publicity, sorry, and it gets so much traction to it. And it's honestly the greatest way to advertise a game. And I think for that reason, there's still companies are still allowing people to play those games.
Right, and also you gotta keep in mind that some people are getting paid by the companies themselves to be able to, get that free publicity, because you can look at people who have millions and millions of subscribers on YouTube, or hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, and you see those people who literally they are, I guess they're paid to play video games, but also they're the sole purpose of companies paying these influencers to kind of like play their game is so that as many people as possible can see their end product, see what they're making.
Yeah, it's the same idea of like social media influencers. I'm glad you brought up influencers, because that's actually something I wanted to say. I didn't know how to segue into it. Yeah. Like it's the same example of like social media influencers. People like Kylie Jenner. That's a thing that was brought up in another class I had. These people with huge like Instagram or Twitter or these huge followings. There's companies that would pay these people to just like make a post about it, make a tweet about it. And they would pay millions, thousands. They would pay tons of money just for a single post.
Yeah.
But that's just because those huge followings will be able to see that post. And even if they were to get a fraction of that following to click on the link that's in that post, that would mean a lot to the company. So that's kind of the same thing with these game industries, and that's probably why they really are like, you know what? Let's just let the streamers play the games. Let's let the streamers and let's let the let the YouTubers stream our game. There's nothing wrong with it. Sure, maybe we'll lose out on a couple sales, but we'll gain a lot more. So yeah, it's like it's really great. It's just the perfect. I guess, it's just the perfect advertising market outlet, rather. Yeah. Outlet, that's the word I'm looking for. And that's why, but the interesting thing is free games.
Yeah.
Free to play games. And big example here, and this may be the elephant in the room, is Fortnite and Ninja. Fortnite is a free to play game. It has microtransactions, but it's a free to play game.
Right.
And Ninja, with this huge following, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Fortnite.
I'm not either.
That's just me. But even in that sense, I still know about it, and I still know of Ninja, and I still know of his huge influence on Fortnite, even though I've never seen a single one of his streams. Actually, I've seen one. It was one when Drake came on.
Oh, jeez.
I was there for that. I was like, holy shit.
Okay, a weird kind of segue.
I love segues.
Segues are weird. So you think about, YouTubers and streamers, and you look at the mainstream celebrities like Drake, Rihanna, Kanye, those people, you look at it as kind of like a disconnect, like they're kind of separated from each other. But the really cool thing that I will kind of commend Ninja for is kind of blurring the line between, mainstream celebrities and media influencers. And I guess a really cool thing is, there are some mainstream celebrities who are famous for movies, TV, whatever, then they start using YouTube as their platform. And it's just kind of like a they're starting to kind of like blur the line between YouTube and like the mainstream media.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and that's even like those people, like for bringing back to the Ninja stream with Drake, with Travis Scott. I forgot who else. Oh, there was like a football player. I don't remember, but like even then, you know, he brought the artist, and he brought someone from the NFL. Or he didn't actually. No, he's in college. Right. Sorry, he plays for the Beavers, I believe. I forgot his name though. Shoot, does he play for the Beavers? I don't know. That's not important. It's like these people with these huge amounts of money and this huge influence are playing a free game, and Epic Games, who made Fortnite, I guess the producers of Fortnite, I don't know what they are, developers or the host of it, whatever it may be, they're letting that fly, and Ninja is making bank. He made bank from that stream, and like you can imagine how much traction that got. That was I don't want to say, I haven't done my research on it, so I'm not going to say anything empty, but that's definitely has to be one of the most screened or one of the most viewed streams on Twitch to this date. It has to be. And that's a huge amount of audience to see a free game. Yeah. So even for that free game publisher, that's a lot of exposure.
Right, exactly. And I feel like that's part of the reason why people are so like socially accepting of people streaming games, and people or like companies are so okay with people streaming their games, making videos on their games, because pretty much any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, all press is good press.
Yeah, exactly. So if you watch videos about people ratting on a game, they're still showcasing that game. Yeah. So, it doesn't matter what people say about a game. If they're saying stuff about it, then people are going to watch it and know about the game. Like Fortnite, for example, there's so many people who sit there and rat on Fortnite, but also...
I'm one of them.
I am also one of them.
But we know about it.
Yeah, we know about it. We know about Ninja. We know about the streams with Drake and whoever else. It's still gaining traction in the media. It's gaining mainstream media. Like Ninja was on the freaking...
He was in the news. And
he was in the news.
Yeah.
He was at the New Year's thing.
Was he?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw it on YouTube a couple days after. And... it sucked and it was bad, but like he was still there. That's the thing. That's the craziest part, is that he was still a part of the mainstream media, and he was on one of like the biggest things on the biggest day. Like everyone's watching the ball drop on the news, or like, there's always that one show that every single person watches on New Year's Eve. And so to have someone like Ninja, who literally gets paid to play a free game, and have him on mainstream media, like that's just like, it's insane. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and his name is just basically branded around Fortnite. Honestly, Fortnite is branded around his name at this point.
Yeah.
So having that sort of representative to be in the mainstream too.
Yeah.
Just in the big screen, in the big day, big New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, does it have someone, I don't know, he probably wasn't wearing like a shirt that said Fortnite or whatever, but that's the Fortnite guy.
That's the Fortnite guy.
That's the Fortnite guy. That's the game that my child plays. That's the game that my child wants to play, but I never let him play. But look at that guy. That guy's up there. Man.
Yeah, and you look at people like Markiplier, who is known as the king of Five Nights at Freddy's, and you see a bunch of little kids buying, the merchandise, like the shirts and the plush toys, and everything. And you kind of tie it to his name because he has such a big following, and his account blew up as a result of that game. And like with Ninja, he blew up because of Fortnite, but also they kind of go hand in hand, because Fortnite blew up because of Ninja blew up because of Fortnite. And, you look at...
It's mutual respect.
Yeah, it's mutual respect, and it's mutual publicity.
Yeah.
And, I guess that's kind of... an example for really any game. You look at like I'm trying to think of a good example, like Minecraft. You look at people like Captain Sparkles, the Diamond Minecart. You know, like all of those people. You look at those guys as Minecraft YouTubers. You know, now being a Minecraft YouTuber is kind of like
it's kind of it's like a distant future. It's like it's something that was in the past, but it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. It's still big.
But even then.
Yeah, and you look at people who play GTA 5, which is a pretty old game. You look at people who play, you know, like even Skate 3. Like there's accounts on YouTube that are pretty much all playing the exact same game, but they just find different things to do in that game. And I guess it's more of like the sandbox games like GTA and Skate 3 where you can pretty much go wherever, do whatever. Yeah,
and if you don't buy the game yourself, you're never going to be able to experience that.
Right.
It's the sandbox games. That's a good example. Sandbox game. Unlimited. Well, first say some sandbox limited, some are unlimited. But basically, in general, an unlimited world, a region, whether that be online or you can play with others or by yourself. You can't experience that just by watching someone else play that. That's a thing of infinite outcomes and infinite abilities and infinite opportunity. Yeah, infinite. Yeah. There's just so much that you can do. You just can't. There's no end to what you can do to play Minecraft. You can build as many things as you want. You can explore different things, and there's new updates that come, and you will never experience that if you don't play that game and if you don't buy that game. If the YouTubers or streamers or whatever, they don't take that $27 game, is it? Yeah, it's like $27 or whatever. They put themselves in YouTube and Twitch, and they broadcast themselves play it. They broadcast themselves playing different worlds. They broadcast themselves playing with other people.
Or like, you know...
servers and like stuff like that. And you won't know that until you actually buy it yourself. And then when you play it, you can truly experience what was it, Mojang? Yeah, Mojang. What the company of Minecraft, those developers really wanted out of the people who are watching these videos and then to buy that game.
Yeah, and... you know, especially with, you know, pretty much any game, you can modify the game pretty much however you want if you know how to do it. And so Minecraft is a good example of that because there is an entire industry of mods to that game. And, you know, you can get mod packs, you can do whatever, you know, you can pretty much create your own game from Minecraft.
Yeah.
And that's like that's the craziest thing, honestly.
That's insane. And like you can with all these different mods, there's like different mod packs that you can have. I forgot the name. I know there's like Feed the Beast and stuff, but that's not important. All these little mod packs and all these different little modifications, you can remove some, you can delete, you can add some different ones, and you can really make your own game. Like you said, your own version of Minecraft, your own version of GTA, your own version of whatever game. It doesn't have to be an open sandbox, your own version. I know people mod like other games, like story games, like Resident Evil. I've seen a couple of modifications of that, and you can Skyrim. Yes, Skyrim. That's a really good one. Yes, dude. You can really make a new game and have a different experience than someone who would have a different load of mods.
Yeah.
And you can really get really creative with what you can do, and you can really push that aura thing that I was talking about and have it really unique from the experience that other people have. And you're not going to get that if you don't buy the game and get those mods for yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, there are games that are specifically designed to be modified. Like, for example, Gary's Mod.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, Gary's Mod is pretty much designed for you to create your own experience.
Yes.
Like, you can download an infinite amount of things to make it your own, to be able to, you know, have your own unique experience from it. And, you know, there's so many different game modes in Gary's Mod. Like, you can play prop hunt, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And, and, you know, I feel like now is the time where like people are doing that more and more when they're developing games.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they want people to be able to have that unique experience as a result of people watching YouTube videos and, you know, figuring out all the ins and outs of a game before they even buy it. And so the more that you can change a game to have an individual experience, the more likely you are to be more inclined to purchase that game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't have bought I don't have Gary's Mod, so I'll go back to the Minecraft example. I would never have bought Minecraft as a child if I never watched a YouTube video on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would never have bought Call of Duty if I'd never watched YouTube videos on it.
Yeah.
And I got into Call of Duty way back, and Minecraft way back. That was way before. I almost want to call this an era, but I'm not going to, because that might be I might be loosely using that term.
Yeah.
But more like this kind of generation, this kind of age that we're in right now, where that's becoming more mainstream. A couple of years ago, it wasn't really. So the fact that even in YouTube, like when YouTube like first started, that type of deal, when people were broadcasting themselves playing games for the first time, well, at least on a good platform.
Yeah. Because there used to be like forums and stuff where you upload. And another thing is speedruns.
Yeah.
Speedruns have literally grown as technology and as broadcasting platforms have evolved.
You want to explain speedruns real quick?
Okay, so pretty much what a speedrun is you're trying to complete a game as fast as physically possible. So like Super Mario Bros. The first Super Mario Bros. For the NES, people have dwindled, or like they've kind of like chipped away at the time that you can complete that game. And the more time that you take off, the harder and harder it becomes to be able to
shave more off.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't even remember what the record is now. I think it's like 5 minutes.
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, something absolutely absurd.
Something that would take me like 5 times longer to finish the first level.
Yeah, and people have learned how to do frame perfect inputs to be able to, chip away. I don't know. It's like 15 frames.
Yeah.
Like
fractions and fractions of decimals of seconds.
Yeah. Like you can play a speedrun almost perfectly, and on the last level, if you don't do the exact perfect, like if you don't do it absolutely perfectly, then you're not going to get the record. Yeah, and the records don't stay for very long.
They don't. It dwindles like smaller and smaller, like probably each day, each hour, maybe even.
Yeah, like some people will get a speedrun, and then within the hour, someone will have beat it. Yeah. Because the environment, the ecosystem of speedrunning, of pretty much trying to figure out how to do anything as fast as humanly possible, has become so vast and has become so worldwide. And it has become something that, everyone knows about. Like, about, like, speedruns. Like, literally anything. Like, you can speedrun speedrun...
Like a Call of Duty, like, campaign, the story mode.
Or like a, like, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah.
Like, you can speedrun anything. Like, Sparrow. Or, literally anything. And, that's something that's another thing that kind of adds on to the longevity of certain games. Yeah. Like, the developers of Super Mario Bros., the first one, I bet you they didn't think that people were going to be playing it,
decades later.
Yeah, decades later. I'm sure that they didn't expect people to be able to finish the game in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, they went into the game anticipating that it would take, X amount of hours. And then, people have figured out how to finish it instantly.
Yeah.
And, people have learned glitches, and just, like, a whole bunch of different stuff to be able to really monopolize on the mechanics of the game.
Yeah, and that's also another big publicity thing, because now, like, the same thing, the same idea, you're watching it at home, and you're like, whoa, what if he did that? What if he did this to it? What if instead of he did this jump, he went down here? What if I know this glitch that he probably doesn't know about?
Yeah.
And there's so many things. You can watch different tutorials on YouTube, and you can watch so many things, but you can get the game yourself and try it out, and you can become a pro at it or whatever, or you can just... you can try and find your own little shortcuts. Maybe you think that if he would have went down instead of up, and then he would have taken this route instead of this route, that would have edged some time. So now you go and buy the game, Super Mario, however much that costs. You can probably get an emulator. That's probably what people do. But or we'll just use an extreme example of going out and buying the game again, that is decades old.
Yeah.
To speed run some NES Super Mario.
Yeah.
Just so they can see if they can one-up someone else. And then that brings some sort of new experience. Because when you first played Super Mario, whether you played it or not, I'm going to assume that when you were watching speedruns, you probably know of the game and maybe played it when you were younger. You played Super Mario when you were younger or something like that. I bet when you first played Super Mario, that would have taken like hours to complete.
Yeah.
And now you're watching these people finish it so fast, and you're like, man, I should get back onto this. I don't have the game anymore. Let me just buy it again.
Yeah.
Because and it's probably not that much money, but it's thinking about how much people are saying that, like. It's like Nintendo probably was like, yo, why do we still have an income in this game?
Yeah. Yeah, they look at games like, you know, even Mario Kart 64. Like that, you can speedrun that game. Yeah. Like, even games that you didn't even know you could speedrun, can be done because people are trying to like figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. And that's insane. There's just so many things. It's interesting. It's really something that you never really think about until you're like, man, why are these people still buying these games? Why are these people still buying these games when they've played it before? They've watched someone else play it. They have no reason to play it again except to put themselves in those shoes of the people who are playing it already and to experience that feeling that is going to be unique from other people. And I think that's awesome. I think that you can still buy a new game and you can still buy an old game. You can buy a game, you can pay for a game, or you can download a free game. You can get whatever game you want, indie game, AAA title games, whatever you want, and it'll always be different from the other person that played it. And I think that's interesting. Okay, I think, you know what? I think that's pretty good. Do you want to say anything at all? I'd say whether it be about this or whether it not be anything you want. You can plug your Twitter. I don't know. Plug your Instagram.
I don't use Twitter, but yeah, I'd say for the people who are skeptical, I'm just gonna look straight at the camera.
Go for it.
For the people who are skeptical about copyright stuff. Whether it be, people playing their games or for people who are, worried about the longevity of the video game industry, I would just say, video games are about having fun. And if you have fun watching someone else play a game, you're still going through the exact same experience. And you're still having fun, even though you may not have purchased the game. And games are all about having fun, If you like video games, if you don't like video games, that's just all you. But, just do it because it's fun. Mm-hmm. And not because, you're contractually obligated to do it. Ninja. But, yeah, I'd say, don't let the mainstream media ruin video games for you, because it could be done.
Violent video games cause real life violence.
Yeah. I played Call of Duty when I was 12, and I'm not a violent person.
Yeah, I played Call of Duty since I was like 10. I never wanted to kill a person. Yeah. Maybe like in the thought. That's not important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, let's not talk about that on a podcast.
That'd probably be bad. Yeah, that'd be really bad.
Anyways, yeah, segues are weird.
Segues are weird. All right. Thank you everyone for coming through. Thank you for everyone that's watching. Thank you to, I suppose, I don't know if, obviously my professor will watch it, but, I don't know if anyone wants to watch it. I might even upload it to YouTube. That might be fun, if you're cool with that, obviously.
Go for it.
Yeah, and if you thought it was interesting, I honestly, coming into it, I wasn't too sure how this would turn out, but I thought it was interesting, and I was participating in it. So, I'm glad I got an outside perspective on it. I think it was really interesting. So yeah, thank you.
As long you can upload it to YouTube if you plug my YouTube.
Oh, for sure.
Put it in the bio.
For sure. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Peace out.